Okay, this experience was around September of 2014. And I actually did ask for this experience. Because see, most of the time when they do sexual stuff, it's not like one-on-one. You know, it's not like, they know that would be disrespectful. So they don't just like abduct me astrally and be like, bam, 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 and have intercourse with me, if you know what I mean. Except that one time, I think it was Joel anyway, I'm not positive, it could have been another demonic type of reptilian. But I was calling him Joel. I mean, I think it was probably him, but I'm not positive. That story's on here, where I put like 5 abductions by Joel. Yeah, that video is on here, and that time it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Joel, because he just likes to toy with me like a cat on a mouse. So yeah, I do believe that was Joel. He just like, bam, just did like one thrust of sexual intercourse with me during that experience. That was a couple years ago. And yeah, he's kind of a funny dude, funny reptile. He likes to play with me like a cat on a mouse. So the last thing on his mind is to really have sex one-on-one, if you know what I mean. But some of the beings will. If you ask for that, they'll give it to you. And these beings felt very, very, very quirky, very benevolent, very quirky, very comical, very friendly. They definitely don't feel human. They feel like a quirky, comical, benevolent little reptile, like a turtle or something. Turtle, or just, yeah, they definitely feel like a reptile. They don't feel human. Their energy. But you can tell a lot of them, they're very benevolent and very friendly and very quirky and very comical. So this experience, it was after I got back from England in 2014. And I was talking to them, and I actually did ask for, because like I say, they normally won't just take you astrally and be like, bam, 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 and have sexual intercourse with you. You know what I mean? They know that's very disrespectful. So they don't do that. I mean, some of them might if they're vicious. But yeah, so I actually asked for this experience, and yeah, I mean, it's funny. They give me anything I want. So I asked for like one-on-one sex. Instead of like at a distance where they just kind of, well, not they, but normally it's just one of them. When they abduct me astrally, they'll get me off at a distance, if you know what I mean. And, okay, so, but this time, I actually did ask for one-on-one sex, because they, like I say, they don't normally do that with me. So I asked for that, and I got it. And this is what happened. And this, let's see, this being, you know, I don't know, I mean, I know it probably was not Joel. Joel is very rogue. I know it wasn't Joel. It did not even feel like Joel, his energy. But I believe the being that gave me this experience possibly could have given me some of those other sexual intercourse experiences, possibly. That one I haven't talked about yet. This possibly could have been the same being, maybe. They gave me that other one at my mom's house, astrally, virtual reality-wise, out-of-body-wise, but I haven't talked about that one. But they could have been different beings, I don't know. But I know this experience, it was not Joel. Joel is very rogue. And actually, the last abduction he just gave me a few days ago, and he, let me see, I haven't talked about this one yet, and I'm trying to remember how it went down. Okay, yeah, this is the one where I can talk about that later, but this is when, sometimes when they abduct you, you feel yourself, your consciousness, traveling really fast in blackness. it's like, yeah, it's really weird. I mean, they abducted me many different ways, but that time, yeah, I felt myself traveling. It's like sometimes instead of them taking your astral body out, they could still sort of take you, I mean, instead of taking your astral body out, that split second before you fall asleep, if you're already in a light sleep, they can still kind of take your brain consciousness out, and then you feel yourself traveling through blackness really, really, really fast, and you'll hear a lot of roaring and humming and stuff. And then, of course, the whole time I was doing that, I'm thinking, okay, man, when am I going to get to the experience? Because I hate, you know, I'm just seeing blackness at that point until I actually make it to the abduction experience scenario. And that abduction, like I say, that was just a few days ago. He literally, and after he abducted me, he like, bam, he like shoved me into the scene, into this empty room. It was like an empty room, but I can talk about that later. But yeah, he actually like, he shoved me from the back, like bam, like get in there, like get into the experience. And then of course everything became bright and vivid, and I was in the scenario. And that's when the scenario started, but I could talk about that later. But yeah, and like I say, he's a bully, and he's always like shoving me around and shit. And another abduction I haven't talked about, where he likes to communicate to me by 1980 pop songs, 1970s, 1990s. He literally abducted me and started throwing me around. He literally was tossing me around like a rag doll, like a whale does a sea lion. He kept tossing me around in the astral realm, or in his dimension or whatever. And the whole time I was like scared. I mean, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God. I was like, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. As he was just throwing me around. And I mean, I was totally conscious. I mean, totally conscious. I'm always totally conscious when they abduct me. And that one was sexual. I have to go find that one. I wrote that one down. But yeah, it's so funny because they are kind of comical. Joel he's pretty arrogant, and he played the song the whole time he was throwing me around in the astral realm. He played the song Aha by Take On Me by Aha. Like, take me on. You know, they're very comical. Like, he was like, I'm so sure you can beat up a reptilian once you go out of body. I mean, they'll whip your ass so fast. Because it's like, that's not our natural form. See, that's their natural form, to be out of body. I mean, that's just how they exist. They're energetic, they're out of body all the time, so to speak. If we go out of body and try to go meet up with them, I mean, there's no comparison. I mean, they'll whip our asses so fast. I mean, I don't know why, you know, we can't be, like, strong like that. But, I mean, we can't. When we go out of body, if we try to whip their asses, oh, man, there's no comparison. They'll stomp you in the ground. You know what I'm saying? So he was being arrogant, and he abducted me. He was throwing me around like a rag doll in the astral realm. And I was just like, please. I mean, I was scared. And normally I'm never really scared at all, but I was scared. And, but deep down I knew he really wasn't going to hurt me, if you know what I mean. And he was playing that song the whole time. He played it before he abducted me. He played it when he was throwing me around. And he played it in the middle and the end of my abduction. The same song, Take On Me by Aha. And like I say, he has given me tons of experiences and popped songs and stuff relative to the experience. And a couple times I actually asked them, hey, will you give me a lucid dream or abduct me or whatever? And pop a song like in the middle of the dream or whatever, or lucid dream. And they've done that before. It's really cool. They're the ones that decided to start communicating to me by songs. I didn't ask them to. But yeah, but that abduction I had a few days ago, he actually just like boom, like bumped me, shoved me into the experience. kind of hard. And like I say, normally he doesn't, you know, it was a little harder this time. Like that one abduction I posted on here, where he abducted me in the vehicle. He was driving me down the road, and he shoved me out of the car. But that was kind of lighter. That was a lighter little shove, but this time it was a little harder. Like, bam. But I mean, it didn't hurt or anything, but it was more than a light shove. It was kind of harder. Yeah, and that one was a few days ago, but I could talk about that one later. But this one, this abduction, I do not believe was by Joel. This abduction was by a very comical, benevolent reptilian. Can't tell if this thing's still okay, I guess it's still on. But okay, so it happened around September of 2014, and this is how it started. Early in the morning, of course, probably around 5 a.m. This is how it started. And like I say, I was talking to them, and I was talking to them for actual one-on-one sex. And I got it. But you got to understand, these little shits have been around me all my life. They've been abducting me all my life and taunting me. I had a bad reptilian attack in 1994, which I haven't talked about yet. I think the timing was off because they sure didn't do much. I mean, I think they tried to do more, but they couldn't because their timing was off. But I could talk about that later. So it's not like they found me, I didn't find them. I mean, they were always around me, if you know what I mean, since birth and before birth. And they know that I was their brother and sister in a past life as a reptilian. They know I was a reptilian in my past life, a Mel. They know that. They're not stupid. But most humans don't figure it out, that they've been aliens in their past life. Okay, so I did ask for this experience and I got it. And this is how it started. They immediately, well not they, but he immediately, and well actually, I did kind of feel like there was maybe more than one reptilian that concocted this experience, but it was only one being that had sex with me. Yeah, so, yeah, sometimes it's just things that I could feel and get impressions and stuff, and I feel like there could have been 2 or 3 that concocted this experience, but like I say, I only had sex with one reptilian being. And this is how it went down. Okay, so immediately, and this time, it was an out-of-body experience, but it was also a virtual reality experience. It was a little bit of both. This time, I did not actually feel him take me out of body that split second before I fell asleep. Sometimes they can still take you even after you've already fallen asleep, and then just boom, pop you in, out of body. They can still take you out of body even after you fall asleep, and pop you into this virtual reality scenario. But it's still a little bit of both. You're out of body, and it's also a virtual reality scenario. Okay, so this is what happened. He immediately takes me. I fly out of body. I was about 6 feet, maybe even 7 feet off the ground. And I was floating. I immediately started floating 7 feet off the ground to the left. Ow, shit. Okay, that hurt. 7 feet off the ground. And, that hurt. I hit my elbow. And, I was flying, I was just like on my butt, I was just sitting there on my butt in midair at 7 feet above the ground, on my butt, just flying along very, very, very slowly, at about 5 miles an hour. And they made me, electronically, they made me say some things to all of these people. There was about 3 or 4 men at each picnic table. Like when I started flying to the left through the park, over to my right, there was like a picnic table with about, 4 or 5 men, and then another picnic table. As I traveled along to the left, there was like table, 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 and there was 3 to 5 men at each table. And the reptilian made me talk to them, to each table. And I'm editing some parts out because the reptilians can be kind of crude, but I'm editing some parts to this. But anyway, okay, so the reptilian, he made me this was not my voice. It was electronic voice that he created. That he made me talk like this, an electronic kind of voice. This was not my voice. Like, he forced it on me to make me say this to all of these men at the picnic tables. Okay, so as I was in midair, about 6 feet out of body, flying along on my butt, I was just flying along on my butt to the left, and I kept bypassing all these men at a picnic table, just sitting there having a barbecue, basically. It was sunny. I mean, it was just like this. It was a park. It was sunny. And like I said, I'm editing some parts out. And he made me say, you want some sex? You want some sex? And I would say that to the first table that I would fly past. And they were just kind of like, no. And then I flew past another picnic table. And I was like, you want some sex? But it was not my voice. It was electronic voice. It was totally electronic, digital, computer created, voice that, because they're very technological. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Yeah. So, and I have, implants and stuff, and that's probably how they do some of this stuff too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I bypassed about 4 or 5 picnic tables, flying on my butt in midair to the left, about 6 feet off the ground. And it was actually fun, actually. And I was like, you want some sex? But it was electronic. You want some sex? And each table was like, no. They all was like, no. And then I bypassed the next table. I was like, you want some sex? And they were like, no. Well, finally, basically at the end of the park, pretend like this is the end of, where all the picnic tables were. At the end of the park, there was one picnic table. There was about 3 guys sitting on this side right here. And, facing me. And then there was a silver-headed man. He looked about 67 years old. A gray-headed man. And so the last table that I bypassed, the last table that I came to extended in midair. This was the last table. And I was like, you want some sex? But like I say, it was not my voice. Sometimes I do talk in my own voice in the abductions, but this was created for me. They were forcing me to say this electronically, digitally, or whatever you call it. You want some sex? But like I say, I'm editing some parts out. Okay, so, this... Of course, this reptilian was posing as this silver, and actually this is pretty damn close to what this dude looked like. Except this guy had blue eyes, but I tried to, I don't know who these people are, so I just tried to block his eyes out with black. But this was the original picture that I just found on the internet. And he had blue eyes, but I marked his eyes out with black. And of course, in the abduction scenario, I can't remember. I think he probably did have blue eyes, but I can't exactly remember that. But I mean, he looks similar to this. 67 years old, white hair, gray hair, silver hair. And he starts scooting on up like his body language was telling me, yeah, I want some. But he didn't actually say it verbally. So the last table I came to, I was like, you want some sex? And then he was like all eager beaver, like, yeah, I want some. And he all scooted up forward, like, you know, on the bench, he all scooted up, you know, with his body language telling me, yeah, I want some sex. So then the next thing I know, I looked down at his britches. And as far as I remember, they were like, black or navy blue pants on. And the reptilians, they can kind of be cock teasers, so to speak. Some of them can be. This isn't the first time that, you know, they like to tease. Sometimes they can tease. And so anyway, he kind of pulled down his pants, and I was just like waiting there to see his stuff, his package. And but he didn't have anything. It was so funny. That's what I mean. These reptilian beings are very comical. They can be very, very, very crude. Some of my abductions, yeah, they could be very, very crude. And if you know who George Carlin is, yeah, they could be about as crude as that, and then some. Yeah, and George Carlin, he's a reptile for sure, in a human body. I just figured that one out too a few months ago. Well, actually, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. But yeah, so anyway, he pulled down his britches, and I was waiting to see his package, you know. Well, he didn't have anything. What was there was like a little lug nut type of thing, like where you screw in like a little black hose or something, or a hose. Like a little lug nut. Like, that's a picture of a lug nut. That's a picture of a lug nut. But he had this, yeah, so that's where he had where his package should have been. Like a little lug nut. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but it was like a lug nut and like a little circle in the middle, like as if, you know, you could attach something to it, like, you know, like a hose or something. I guess the reptilians were maybe they were going off dildos or something. I don't know. Strap-ons or something. I have no idea. But, so anyway, that was the very, very, very comical part. Okay. And I'm trying to, I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, the electronic voice, the lug nut. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I'm remembering everything. And the last part, so this was, if I forget anything, I can put it in the description, but I don't think, I'm pretty sure I'm not forgetting anything. But I just use this picture as being out of body, but I wasn't flying like this. I was flying all right, but I was on my butt, just flying along on my butt. 6 feet above the ground. It was total freaking blast. So the last part, after they were teasing me, and I wanted to see it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to see his package, you know what I mean? And they were teasing me, and the reptilian was teasing me, and making me think he didn't have anything, like all he had was a freaking lug nut, where you attach some dildo or some hose or something. And like I say, the reptilians can be very, very, very crude. Oh, this is not even what they've done before. In some of my abductions. But anyway, so the last part, okay, I end up having sex. He ends up like sitting in a chair basically, and I end up, you know, sitting on top of him. And we were having sex like this basically, you know, like I was just sitting there on top of him, and we were having intercourse. And of course, when you're out of body, everything still feels very, very, very physical. It does not feel ethereal. It does not feel astral, so to speak. When I am out of body, everything feels very, very, very physical. But like I say, sometimes if I feel myself, like, I can still tell that I'm not physical. It's like an energetic type of physical. And anyway, so the next thing I know, I'm actually having sex with him. But like I say, the reptilian, I'm having sex with the reptilian. The reptilian is posing as a 67-year-old old man. And they know I don't give a shit what they put in my scenarios. They know, that I don't really care. I mean, they know that I'm not really straight, So anything will do. They know I don't care. But like I say, they know I don't know, it's kind of like they know I'm gay, because there's been times where 5 or 6 days in a row, every morning, they'll give me these they'll come to my virtual reality state, basically. I mean, it's not a dream, it's more than a dream. They'll come to my virtual reality state, in the altered state of consciousness, and pose as all these lesbians, and we'll be having all this, sexual stuff going on. They've done that like 5, 6 days in a row a couple years ago. I haven't talked about that one yet. But anyway, I don't know if it was Joel that was giving me all those experiences. I don't know. But like I say, lots of times I do know definitely that it's Joel who's giving me the experience. And sometimes I don't quite know. But yeah, so I started having sex just like this on his lap. Just like that, except, he was sitting down in the chair. Now, like, I don't know exactly how a chair popped into the scenario, but after he started scooting forward and everything, on the bench, like I say, it just seemed like a chair sort of appeared somewhere after I started looking at the little lug nut thing. We ended up in a chair, and I was having sexual intercourse with him, or he was having sexual intercourse with me. And like I say, I mean, it feels very, very, very physical. It felt very, very, very physical. But like I say, I wasn't really having sex with that man. I was having sex with the reptilian. They like to pose as many different things and masquerade as many, many different things. It's amazing what they could do. I mean, totally amazing. I mean, they can replicate anybody. And a lot of people may be attuned to some of what they think is just a dream, and they probably think, oh my God, I think I had sex with this awesome person in my dream. And first of all, it wasn't a dream. Second of all, it probably wasn't that person. It was probably a reptilian. But anyway, in this experience, as far as I know I remember, but I didn't actually climax in this experience. I don't know if sometimes they can control that or not, but it still felt good, you know what I mean? Still felt good, but I did not climax. But yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you go out of body, everything, if you have sex and all that, it still feels very, 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 very physical. Very physical, but these are not physical encounters. These are, out of body encounters. But sometimes, I think the Greys, and maybe some Reptilians too, sometimes they will distract you with these out-of-body virtual reality scenes. These awesome, fun, out-of-body virtual reality scenes. The Greys mainly are responsible for this. And sometimes they will tamper with you physically at your bedside. They do that. I have no doubt. I know they do that. Well, I caught them doing that. Some of the Greys. But the Reptilians might do stuff like that too sometimes. I would not be surprised. But yeah, so anyway, I started having sex intercourse with this reptilian, and it was pretty fun. And I know there's something else I was going to say. Trying to remember. Oh man, there's something else I was going to say. Something about people when they have these kind of experiences, and they may think they're a dream. And okay, I don't know if I can remember what I was going to say now, but basically that was the end of my experience. And it was a total blast. There was one more sexual intercourse, one-on-one experience I had around the same time, and I haven't talked about that one yet. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's kind of hard for me to explain, and I think some researchers, that's why they call the reptilians being able, this is what I was going to say. The reptilians, they're able to resonate. So, like, if they know, you know, how you are or what you're attracted to, you know, they can imitate that person exactly. Yeah. I think that's what researchers call, you know, resonance, how the reptilians can resonate. And yeah, they can, but like I say, sometimes it's just totally awesome what they could do because in this reality, it's like, well, you know how you may have certain wishes and fantasies that you want to really like feel close to somebody and really like somebody, and you just can't ever get that feeling in this reality, in this 3D boring ass lame reality. But the reptilians, they know that. They know that about you if that's what you kind of are looking for. And they will give it to you in your out-of-body experiences or lucid dreams or virtual reality experiences. You know, with a man or woman, whatever, where it's like, it feels so loving and you feel so close to the person. You know, I mean, they can give that to you. And that can't be replicated in this boring ass lame reality, this 3D reality. And I know that part's kind of hard to explain, I guess. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. I mean, or just that you understand what I mean. I'm trying to think of a better example. Well, like everything just feels so fake and phony in this dimension. And, well, it maybe did it, you know, when I was dumb and naive, you know, 20-something years ago, like if I liked somebody or whatever, but that was just all mind control and shit. It was still all fake. I just didn't know it was all fake. But yeah, so, you know, a lot of people are walking around and they want their true love and they don't really understand why they can't get it and can't get those feelings like in this dimension. But yet the reptilians can turn around and give you all of that in the altered state of consciousness when they abduct you and shit. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be sexual. You know, it doesn't have to be sexual. You know, it could just be just some kind of closeness that you like want. Like I say, it's not necessarily sexual. You know, it's amazing what they could do. Okay, so that was my experience. Yeah. It's amazing what they could do. So, you just may want to like really, you know, care for somebody or whatever. And you know, in this reality it's like all boring and lame and shit. Well, they kind of know that about you and they can create those feelings and all of that where it feels totally real and legitimate. Totally real. It doesn't feel fake. They can create all of that in the other reality. You know, reality. Like I say, it doesn't have to be sexual. Okay, well, that was my experience. Thanks for listening.